Hello everyone, I'm Carly and thank you so much for joining me in another episode of Crafting with Class. Today I have the second installment of the Anna Griffin pop-up kits. This is the window box. I am here for the Anna Griffin window box pop-up card making kit, so I'm going to show you the contents of this kit. Now this was an auto ship. This is the second one. The first one was the basket one, so this is the second one, and I apologize, my nail just broke of course right before filming, so I'm sorry that I know that looks weird, but I'll take care of this later. Anywho, hopefully that's not too distracting. So let's go ahead and jump into the unboxing, or taking a look at the kit contents. So with Anna's kits, of course, you get the beautiful inspiration and instruction sheet. So it shows you how to go ahead and put this together. Now, the way I'm going to show you does differ from her instructions, just because I feel like there's just easier ways to put this together, and there are a couple of tricks in here, or tricky parts. So I will share all that with you when we put it together. Okay, I had to switch to a voiceover because the bag was so super noisy, so sorry about that. But here's tip number one. So when I get these kits, I like to take all the pieces out and put them together in like pieces. So as you can see, all the windows are together, all the base pieces. And so I like to do this because it helps once you go to assemble it, you have all the pieces. I just wrap like a rubber band around it to keep the pieces together, but they're loosely wrapped around, so they're not all super tight. But this helps to have those organized and be ready to use it much easier. So as you can see, the rubber band is not, it's not super tight on there, so it doesn't leave any divots or marks or anything on the pieces. You get the sentiment panels, and those are all occasion, and they're foil stamped and lovely as always. Now, here is my first complaint. You get these 2 packs of flowers, but I feel like I got way fewer than I did in the first kit that they sent. So I don't know if it was just me that kind of got, you know, I don't know, fewer, but or they just kind of were a little bit more stingy with the flowers, but I feel like we got more in the first kit. But you get 2 packs of these flowers. You get this ivory with the gold foil, which is nice, and then you get some other little flowers. So yeah, but I'm thinking like, I don't think we got as many as we did last time. Then you get your sentiment banners, and these are all occasion as well. You get your foam squares. You get your 5x7 envelopes. You get your card bases, and you get 2 of each of the colors. And these are nice because they are foil stamped and decorated on the outside and on the inside, and you have the space right there that tells you where to put your base piece, and your handmade by on the back. So these are nice. 2. So 2 of each design there. And then you get your sentiment cards. So you can, your signature cards. You can add your signature or a little message onto your card. So these are all the pieces that come in this kit. So as I mentioned, I will show you kind of my tips and tricks to putting this together. It is quite different from the directions that are included in the kit, so you can do it either way. I just feel like the way that I'm going to show you is just an alternate way of putting it together, and so you can decide which one works best for you. So I'm going to take the pieces that I'm going to need, and we'll get started. Let's go over the individual pieces you'll need. So the first piece is this long one that makes up the box shape. You will also need 2 of these insert pieces that will go inside to support the box. You'll need the base piece where the mechanism will go into, a window. You will also need the little mechanism tab and your card base. And I have kind of stuck with the same colors, but you can mix and match however you really want to do. So the first thing I do when I do these is I start by folding on the creases. Now all the pieces have the creases, or are scored I should say, for you. Now for this one you want to make sure you fold it so it's in the shape of an M, the way I'm showing you here. And this will be the structure that supports the mechanism inside. So you want to fold it in an M. For this one you have the little tabs where you have a C, so you want to fold along those on both pieces. Now this one is the base piece, so you just fold that down the middle. I like to use my bone folder to get good creases on there. The window does not need any folds. Now this long piece has several folds, so we'll go over these because they have two types of folds, mountain and valley. So along the little first one you have a mountain fold. Now where you see that cut out like half circle, you're going to go in to create a valley fold on that one. So press down for the valley fold, and then the next one you're going to do a mountain fold. So mountain, then valley, then mountain. You're going to go to the next score line, and that's going to be another mountain fold. Then where you have that half circle, you're going to do another valley. So press it in so the fold goes inside. Then the next score line is a mountain, and that is the last fold. So just to review one more time, where the purple fold line, you have a mountain, then a valley, then a mountain, mountain, valley, and mountain. So when you put those together, this is what makes that box mechanism. Now, there are more fold lines to make. Along the top, you have one long score mark at the top. So first, let's go ahead and fold the little pink tabs. There are 4 of those. So just get those ready by folding them along the crease. And now at the top, you have one long fold. So it's broken up into different segments. I believe there are 4 different segments. So fold those down to get them ready. So once you have them folded, then I like to unfold them, just straighten them back out so that I know where to put the tape. Now that everything is folded, now we're ready to add the adhesive. Now pretty much everywhere where you see these little color tabs is where the adhesive is going to go, except for a couple places where I will show you. Now here's that long piece at the top. Remember, it's divided into 4 segments, but what I like to do is, rather than putting tape on each individual segment, I like to just make one strip of tape at the top. And I'll just cut the end off. Now the reason why is because then it's easier than trying to put tape on each individual section. So what I do is I flip it over to the back. I'm going to fold up on it, and when you fold it, it shows you exactly where that cut mark should go. So I just take my scissors and make those little cuts to separate where the tape, should end for each segment. So you'll make 3 cuts. And I feel like this is easier than putting it on each individual section. So now I have put tape on all the parts that have tape. Now I don't put tape on the window, even though that's what the directions say, but I do it differently, as I will show you. So here on that structure mechanism, you just need tape at the 2 ends. On these 2 segments, you need them just on those little colored tabs. So those 4 little ends there. And then on the big piece, you need it on the 4 pink tabs at the top, on the purple tab along the side, and then the one we just did together at the top. So those are the places that will need tape or adhesive if you're using a wet glue. Now let's go ahead and start removing this tape. So I'm taking the first part off, and then I'm bringing it forward and pressing it down with my bone folder to get good contact and a good crease. Then the second section will do the same thing. So again, you are removing the tape and bringing it forward so the piece will glue to the top. And what this is it serves as a decorative element but also reinforces the box. So those are the two purposes for this part there. So there we have it. And I'm just reinforcing those folds. That's how the box will go eventually. You can also go ahead and adhere that purple tab at this point if you want to. I'm going to do it later, but you can do it anytime. So now let's go ahead and do the structure in the middle first. You'll notice that it has two D marks on it, and then in the little M you have a D. So you're going to connect D to D, and you just want to make sure that it's in the M shape. So as I'm showing you here, so you're going to connect one D to the other D, just like this. And then you have that attached to that one. Now for the next one you're going to do, or the other side of the tab, you're going to do the same thing. But what I like to do to make it easier, rather than trying to match up those D little squares, instead of doing that, I like to just match up the edges of the whole thing. So just the sides, just like that, and that gives you exactly the right place where the other side needs to be. So this part is assembled and ready to go. So we have the box ready, the supporting mechanism, and now we can start building the structure. So you have the 4 little pink tabs that are going to go in the outside slots. So you notice you have outer slots and inner slots. So this is going to go in the outer slots. So you'll see me put those pink slits in those little slots. So you have 2 on one side and then 2 on the other side, like so. It's very easy to put in there, even though they may want to come out. All right, flip it over, and you're going to notice that when you remove the adhesive liner, you're going to see B and B, or pink and pink, and so you're just going to put those together. I like to pull mine pretty taut, only so that it hides that mechanism because it is colored. So from the front, well, you'll see what I mean in a minute. But for now, you just want to go ahead and line those up together. So super easy. No way to mess that up because pink will line up with pink. Okay, so next you're going to see that the structure is in there, but see how you can see a little bit of that dark pink? So this is where I'm a little type A about things. So I'm going to carefully pull that up, and then I'm going to pull it a little more taut, so that way you can't see any of that dark pink, and it hides the fact that, oh, maybe this is a little bit, it's not as easy as it is. So I'm going to do that to these two. So I'm going to pull those a little tighter so that you can't see any of that dark pink. And then with the excess, I'm just going to go ahead and trim off with my scissors, and nobody will know that this isn't that hard to put together. All right, so I got my structure there. So now I'm ready for the inners. So the inside is going to go into those 4 inner slots, as you can see right there. So you're going to do the same thing, put the little slits through the slots. And I feel like this is easier to do when you have the whole thing assembled and not trying to fuss with that inside piece. So you're going to do the same thing again. You're going to remove the liner paper. You'll see C and C, or green and green. You can just lay that right on top. So super easy because it's color coded. It's also coded by the alphabet. So C and C, or green and green. Easy peasy. Okay, so we have one more to do. All right, we're good to go. So now the inside panel is ready to go. So now you can, if you haven't already, you can attach that purple part, and you'll notice that it will also match up with the purple on the inside. So again, you can do this before this part, or you can do it now, whichever is easier. I mean, it's pretty simple either way. So that purple tab is in, and now your structure is done, and you want to go ahead and fold it just to give it so it knows what to do. So I would recommend you fold it a few times just so that it can get some memory and know what to do. So now I would recommend that you go ahead and adhere that inner mechanism before you put in the window, because if you put in the window too high, then what's going to happen is when you close it, it's going to stick out at the top. Then you're stuck, right? You might have to trim it off so it'll fit in the envelope, because there's no indication on how far you need to put the little window. So I would recommend that you put the glue on that little orange tab that you have there, and then just kind of play around with where you want to put the window. So you want to add adhesive to the bottom of both parts. So I've added some tape already, so I'm going to remove the liner to expose the adhesive. So there's that side. You can do one side at a time if you want to. I'm just going to go ahead and do both. So what I like to do is first of all, make sure that orange tab is at the back. So that's facing the back. What is to me most important with these is that the folds match. So the fold on the mechanism and the fold on the card base both match up. I feel like you get a much cleaner fold when you do that, because here it's not exactly matched up, so I had to pull it up, and thankfully you didn't do any damage, but usually I'm more careful than this. So you just want, for me, I feel like if you match up those score lines in the middle on the mechanism and the card, it just sits nicer, more nicely. So that's what you want to make sure that you do. See, I had to mess with this a couple of times. And then I also like to assemble this while it's open. I just feel it just works better. But again, do what works best for you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and burnish that down so it's nice and flush. And of course you want to fold this a couple of times so that the mechanism gets used to the movement. So now this is where, again, you want to attach the window part to the box. I like to put the adhesive on the box itself in that orange part right there. Now, the other thing you'll notice is I'm using wet glue, because that gives me some wiggle time. So when I put that window, and you want to make sure that the foil is the front part. So when I put it in there, I'm going to just press it in lightly, and then I'm going to go ahead and close the card and make sure that it's not sticking out from the bottom. And then I'm going to open it to see if I like where it is. So if it's not too low, and then so it's not sticking out. And once it is, then I can go ahead and burnish that part down on the window once it is in the spot where I like. And so this is the finished card as far as the mechanism in the card base. So there you can see how that inside structure works and how it sits nicely on the card. Now, fast forward, I have decorated it with the embellishments that come in the kit. So you can see it does look lovely, but I do not feel that this is one that you would decorate front and back. I mean, you could, but it doesn't have the same effect as it did on the basket. I wouldn't waste my flowers like that. So here's the front, and see how super thick this is. This is much, much thicker than what I'm used to, because I usually don't put foam adhesive But I did use it, the one that came in the kit, because I wanted to use what came in the kit. And so this was not something that I particularly liked, putting that foam adhesive, because when I mail this, it's going to be extra, extra, extra postage because it's so thick, and that doesn't really make me happy. But these I'm probably going to hand deliver once, now that we are, starting to see people a little bit more. But it is lovely. It is beautiful. But as you can see from the back, you can make it double-sided, but it's kind of like a waste of the flowers. And because you don't get as many as you did in the original kit, yeah, it makes me hesitate wanting to embellish both sides of it. Now for the basket, totally worth it. This one, not so much. But this is what it does look like. I highly recommend a belly band for this card since it is so thick. Now, I did open up the bags, and actually it is a little bit more flowers than initially what I thought. You get those topiaries, but I don't know how I feel about those. The flowers are really tiny. They're very small compared to the ones that came in the first kit for the basket. Um, and also, I took out the original bag. So these are the bags that came in the first kit. So I've used a ton of flowers and I still have a ton left. And so the other thing, I noticed two things in comparing the flowers from the first kit and this one. Look at these flowers. They're way bigger. They're much bigger than the ones in this kit. And also notice that the other kit, these were stickers, which was nice because then I didn't have to use the foam and I could layer them up, no problem. So as you can see, I peel off the back because it was a sticker. These in this kit are not stickers. There's no glue there. So that's another, for me, in my opinion, another critique of this. I would have rather had the sticker. I would have rather had a little bit bigger flowers and not all those topiaries. Maybe some foliage would have been nice, but not like trees and stuff like that. It does kind of make me think twice about future shipments if they're going to be kind of this quality. So I don't know. Stay tuned and find out. But here are a few pics of the finished card. I do like it. I do think that the window box is beautiful. I just am a little bit underwhelmed about the quality of the flowers in this kit and the quantity of the flowers. But I'm going to keep it and I am going to send it out. I'm just going to supplement with flowers from the first kit. And if you have more Anna flowers, that'll be easy to do. So thank you so much for joining me today. I would love to hear if you have this kit, what did you think of this kit compared to the first one? Thank you so much for joining me today and for liking, commenting, and subscribing. If you'd like to see any more Anna Griffin videos, here are a couple suggestions from me. Until next time, bye.